Hi everyone, Queeveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to take a look ahead to the coming year of 2026. We are going to take a closer look at the coming month in just a few videos time. But besides some interesting things that are happening, such as the opposition of Jupiter, so we can see Jupiter there almost at opposition. We're maybe a few days off Jupiter's opposition there, but pretty close to opposition in mid to late January. We are going to continue moving forward to catch some of the bigger events, some of the events that don't happen every year. Every year we get Jupiter at opposition eventually. But if we take a closer look at the sun here, we may need to remove the atmosphere. We're here taking a look at the sky for February 17th. There we go, February 17th, and there is the new moon almost in front of the sun. For us here in Ireland, it won't be in front of the sun, but there is an annular solar eclipse coming up right at the beginning of the year, somewhere down around Antarctica, around here-ish. Now we're taking a look at, here we go, we're taking a look very early in the year here. So we are just past winter. We're still, depending on your definition of the seasons, we may be coming through winter still at this point. But here we are just at the edge of Antarctica, so not a view that many people are going to get. And this particular solar eclipse is an annular solar eclipse. So we should be getting a pretty good example of it. There we go. This is a great example of an annular solar eclipse. We will be having a supermoon in January and still pretty close to a supermoon in February, which means this solar eclipse is happening with the moon at its furthest from us. If we can click on the moon, which I always find tricky, it's always hard to click on the moon when it's directly in front of the sun here, but we can see that the eclipse is occurring at 92% obscuration. So this is less than a total solar eclipse, of course, but it's also less than, for example, a total solar eclipse being seen outside of the path of totality. This annular eclipse at its absolute best, and it really is at its best here, it's only going to be obscuring less than 100%, which is of course, or the moon will only be obscuring the sun less than 100%, which is of course what happens with annular eclipses. So we can see the moon here is at a great distance from us, 38 or 383,000 kilometers away from us, and that may get further, no, it gets less, but still pretty close to its furthest of about 400,000 kilometers away from us, pretty close to its furthest, which is why it's not able to block out the entire sun. Now these things, eclipses often come together, usually, or at least often, we will get a lunar eclipse around the time, usually within the same lunar cycle, within the same month. We will get a lunar eclipse of some sort if we have gotten a solar eclipse. And that is indeed what we will get if we go all the way through to March and we come around to our March full moon. So the moon here is just past 100% full. There we go. So here's the moon. 99.7 on both of these dates is about as close to full as we're seeing it. It goes down there and it's higher here, 99.8%. So we're probably not going to get a very good view of the lunar eclipse. So we're going to head over to the Pacific. We'll head over to just around here, and I do believe we're still on the right date. It shouldn't be too hard to change around the dates a little bit if necessary anyway. So we'll take a look at the moon here. It is at 100% full, which is exactly what we want, and here is our total lunar eclipse. So this is going to look great from this location. Here we are pretty much in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So if you're living there, you're going to have a great view of this lunar eclipse, and we can see it happening really perfectly there, the whole lunar eclipse happening from this location, which is of course what we want. This one also not going to be visible from Ireland, but that's okay. We have plenty more. Well, we have a couple more eclipses coming up this coming year in 2026. And of course, I will take closer looks at these eclipses and find out some of the ideal locations as we get closer to the dates on which they are occurring. Coming now all the way through to August, so jumping right through to the opposite end of the year. In fact, we may be able to do this just a little bit quicker if we just do this. There we go. We're coming all the way forward to the 12th. So August 12th, the 12th or the 13th is usually the peak of the Perseid meteor shower, one of my favorites. And even from here in Ireland, we are getting a partial solar eclipse just as the sun goes down on the 12th. So I think it's great that these things are happening together on the same day that we get this partial solar eclipse. Yeah, not quite a total solar eclipse, but a pretty good solar eclipse nonetheless. If we take a look at the percentages, oh, we're clicked on the moon, we'll have to click on the sun. There we go, 96.42%. So even though taking a look at the annular eclipse earlier this year from Antarctica, or earlier next year from Antarctica, when the annular eclipse was at its perfect maximum, it was giving less obscuration than this total solar eclipse is giving outside of its perfect range. So we're only getting a partial eclipse from here in Ireland. However, I know that this eclipse is going to look better from other areas. So it should still only be the end of the eclipse that we're catching. Oh, I must have overshot a little where we're so close to perfect here. If only this map allowed me to maybe zoom in a little bit closer, it could make things easier. The eclipse kind of arcs down around this way, so we'll see if we've got a better view just from here, just the top of Spain near Portugal. It looks like that's past it, and not quite. The best location for this eclipse, I believe, is Iceland, or just off the coast of Iceland. So let's see if we can get a better view from here. We're past the eclipse, so we need to move backwards, and there we go. A total, is it total? 99.78. It's not quite total, not quite perfectly exactly in the right place. So we're going to have to move just a little bit more, where we're going to have to move very, very small amounts. By the looks of it, I think we're going to have to move a little bit north here. Is that working? It looks like we're closing the gap a little bit. Maybe if we go by minutes instead. It's also coming back a little bit. So let's go the opposite way and see if we can get this to increase all the way to 100% obscuration. We're getting close. It looks like we're not quite making it. So it does look like this eclipse, it is a total eclipse, but it may be difficult lining yourself up in exactly the right location to get this eclipse to the perfect 100% that we would be looking for. We're up to 99.93% there, which is really, really close to total. I'll try changing the time just a little bit again, just in case. No, that seems to be as good as I can get it. But again, when we get a little bit closer to that eclipse later in the year, I will figure out the exact perfect location for it. But we can see here 3 planets visible during the day if you're lucky enough to be in Iceland during this eclipse. Potentially parts of northern Spain as well. Another thing for me to check out. So we will come back yet again to Ireland, where we do have a partial solar eclipse on this date. And we'll move forward to the accompanying full moon. So again, the solar eclipse and the Perseids coming on the same day is pretty nice. Here we've got our lunar eclipse, and let's see, yeah, 99.5% illuminated, so not quite a perfect full moon, and we're going down, moving in that direction. But yeah, it looks like we're not quite catching this one. Let's see, there we go, 99.9% here on the 27th, and then coming up into midnight, hopefully we'll get it to 100% before it sets, or at least close enough for the close enough for the lunar eclipse to begin. So here we are 100% full on the morning of the 28th. So this is a morning eclipse for us here in Ireland, and it is a partial lunar eclipse, so we can see that the umbra of the Earth doesn't fully cover the moon at any time. The penumbra will have already slid across the moon at this point, and we can just about see that happening there. So it's around here is where the penumbra is there, peeling off at just around 2 in the morning, or peeling onto the moon at just around 2 in the morning. We're coming up to our maximum there at just about 5, and then finishing off just as the moon sets, just as the sun rises. So that is, for us here in Ireland, a partial solar eclipse and a partial lunar eclipse. For the world, an annular solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, and 2 total lunar eclipses. This lunar eclipse will be total from other areas in Europe, and again, once we're through to August 2026, that's something we'll take a look at. But here's just a brief overview of those couple of big things that are coming up this year. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like it. If you like this kind of content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you'd like to read this information, you can do so on my website, queevinscontent.ie. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.